Hey, guys. This is Jeff with 5 Minute Murder. We're going to do another round of this here. As you can see, I already have some cards set up there. We're going to pick one from this little deck here that I'm shuffling from our Killers, the card game, and all of the expansions. And then we're going to talk about them for 5 minutes. So we'll see who we grab out of here. And then I'll start the timer and we'll go. Oh, this is a good one. We got Al Capone today. So I'm going to start the timer right now. 5 minutes going. So I'll read the back of the card first. Al Capone was born January 17, 1899, and died on January 25th, 1947. Capone's multi-million-dollar Chicago operation in bootlegging, prostitution, and gambling dominated the organized crime scene. Capone was responsible for many brutal acts of violence, mainly against other gangsters. The most famous of these was the St. Valentine's Day Massacre in 1929, in which he ordered the assassination of 7 rivals. Capone was never indicted for his racketeering, but was finally brought to justice for income tax evasion in 1931. After serving 6.5 years, Capone was released. He died in 1947 in Miami. So, I get a lot of questions about old Al Capone and why he's in the game. So, it was never proven that Capone killed anybody. Certainly, he had many people ordered to die, right? He was the head of a criminal empire, whereas, much like Pablo Escobar later on, he would give back to his community. There were a lot of people in Chicago, a city that he largely built, right, that, he paid for and that he gave lots of money to, that he gave away things to. But he was still the one in control of all the racketeering, all the prostitution, all the bootlegging, right? So he was doing all of that. So there were many, many people that he had killed, whether it was directly from him or indirectly through other people, like the St. Valentine's Day Massacre. Now, that's a really neat thing, because that wall that they came in and lined people up against is been in a number of different places. At one point, it was apparently erected in a bathroom of a bar, and people would use it as the urinal, right? They'd pee on the wall. And later on, or now, the wall has been reconstructed in Vegas at the Mob Museum. I've seen it there and have gone and seen all the, the bullet holes that are still in the brick of the wall. So, Al Capone is a fascinating story, right? He came from New York, went to Chicago, ends up doing all this stuff and really spearheading all the bootlegging during Prohibition. And later on, of course, we know that they couldn't catch him on anything, just like it said on the back of the card, and they had to get him for tax evasion. We talk a lot about the movie. I can't think of the name of it now. I have it right up there. Untouchables. That's it. They talk about Eliot Ness and the different guys. And, Eliot Ness was doing his best to catch Capone and couldn't do it. So he had to get one of his other guys to find some kind of loophole, because Capone was not paying taxes. So he was getting away from all of that, and they eventually got him on that. Now, you would think that when Capone went to prison, right, he ended up on Alcatraz. He's one of the very famous prisoners that was there, but you hear relatively little about Capone at Alcatraz. He was a prisoner that, unlike a John Gotti or, some of the other people that we've seen go to prison and get a lot of renown from it, Capone doesn't, right? He doesn't go to prison and be like Billy Badass in prison. It's just not how he was. Probably a lot of that had to do with the fact that he was starting to get in the later stages of syphilis, right? Syphilis had really become a problem. He had lots and lots of brothels all over the United States, right? So those brothels, he was going there and sleeping with those women. And apparently he got the gift that keeps on giving. And he was in late stages of syphilis. He was having a lot of issues with the capability of his brain during the time that he was out in Alcatraz and when he was released. When he goes to Miami, he is basically a shell of himself, right? He is not the same man that was once the bootlegging prostitution leader of the mafia. Not that guy anymore. So he ends up living out the rest of his days there in Miami and eventually passes away there. So, but a fascinating guy, and my 5 minutes is up. So there you go. Check out. Let me stop that there. Stop. Done. What the heck? All right. Eventually we'll figure out how to turn that thing off. That's great. But yeah, Al Capone. One of the people that we put right on the cover, right? Put Capone on the cover of the original game. This is the original box. It no longer has the people on the front of it, but that was the original box when I first came up with the game. It was my original design, and we had to change that for various reasons. But Capone is on there because I have a personal love for the mafia. I grew up around it. For those of you that want to hear more about that, check out my show on the Good Wives Network. Serial killers around the world. You'll hear me talk a lot more about my own personal history with all of this and why I came to be in the true crime space at all. And then come and see me. I'm at a bunch of different conventions. Actually, this weekend, when you guys see this, I will be heading to Evansville, Indiana to do Evansville Horror Con. Come and see me. I'm running a panel on serial killer psychology. Come and see us. Have fun. Pick up the game. Go to scorpionlair.com. Check out all the stuff that we have. And I'll talk to you all next week.